Okay, so the items that you'll need are a 13 socket for the top hat bolts. It's those. Then 18 for the sway bar links. 17, of course, for the lug bolts, if you have those. And I went on Amazon and I got these spreaders. I think they were for like $10. Free shipping, of course, through Prime. Then I also have a what's it called? A swivel joint for a 1/2 inch impact, and I have a mallet just in case some things need persuasion. I have the impact just in case some things need some persuasion. And then I have a heavy duty strut compressor from Amazon as well. Everything that I got from Amazon, and most of the tools that I got are either from Amazon or Harbor Freight. Just random things that I picked up randomly. I ended up getting the compressor, like for the struts. The reason why is because everybody does it where they use like a 2x4 to push the front strut up into the car to make space. I think that's kind of sketchy. That's just me. I think that's kind of sketchy doing that. Where if you just have the right tool, you can get it done. Yes, the 2x4 is cheaper than a strut compressor, but that was on sale for like $25, so why not? We'll see if it compresses it enough. That's the key thing here. Hopefully it compresses it enough. If not, then I will back out of this whole thing and go get a 2x4. And then also they don't tell you how long the 2x4 needs to be. So I could use, actually that's what I could do. If push comes to shove, I really could use this, and you could do the same thing if you have this type of jack. But the jack like rod that you can actually use that probably. It's probably strong enough to do that. It might try and slip, but I might put something on there to keep it from slipping if necessary, if it comes to that. Hopefully it doesn't. Key thing that you will need is a 14 mil triple square. It looks like this. If you don't know, just trying to focus on me. Looks just like that. This was the most difficult thing to find around here. I saw it on Amazon, but I didn't really feel like waiting. But I've had these coilovers for a good month now, and I could have bought it as soon as I had it, but for some reason, there was only one video on YouTube that talked about that tool. I went to go do the job one day, and it was like the reason why you need it is down here. Let's see if you can see that. Right there. That holds the whole strut assembly pressured together. And if you try and zip this off, this is an 18 right here, this whole thing will just keep spinning. So I don't know why no one, sorry. Turn on, there we go. I don't know why no one really talks about that one tool, because like that will stop you from doing this whole thing. And you can't use like I never know the name of things, but I have the damn tool. One of these. You can't use one of these. I don't, it's like a clamp or something, but you can't use it. And the reason why is because the bolt is like coned or whatever. Like it's not it's not like a regular bolt. If it was a regular bolt, I would have just used a wrench on it, but you can't do that. And this can't get a good enough grip on it where you can hold it down enough. So that's fine. I shopped around. I gotta say, I went to like 5 different stores actually, and Napa was the only one who had it in stock. And one thing that I never really had an issue with was finding things in stock on Google, but every place it said, oh, it's in stock, it's in stock, it's in stock. But then when I get there, it's not in stock. And Napa only had one in stock, so that was luck. So if you go to do this job, I stress to you, just get that bolt. I just spent like 2 or 3 minutes talking about that one bolt, but I mean, I literally, like I said, I went to go do this job, and because I didn't have it, it stopped me from doing it. So I'm gonna see how I will mount you guys up so you can see the whole thing. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to loosen this bolt, take out the sway bar, and it would help if you guys had light, right? I'm gonna go after the knuckle first. Might as well take that loose. I don't think you have to take this all the way off. I think you just have to make it to the point where you can move this bolt back and forth, and it's enough space for you to put the pry tool in between the knuckle back here. And like I said, I'll go after the sway bar link after that. And I already took off the brake line with some pliers. That's one thing that I probably didn't say that you need. You either need pliers or a flathead screwdriver to get this out. That looks like this. It's this little pressure clamp or pressure, I don't know what the heck this is called, but it goes in like that, goes in like that, and all you got to do is just pry this out and it comes up. That's just really to make space for everything, for this to fall down. I don't know why, but not everybody, a lot of the videos tell you to go after the drive shaft. Like, that is crazy. I'm not about to do all that. That's just adding more things that could break. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and we'll see if the compressor works and it's enough to squish it down. But yeah, really hope that works. I'll go ahead and get started, and hopefully I can get you guys lined up where you can see everything that you're out of the way. All right. Okay, so I just, through that time lapse, you saw me trying to get at the sway bar. I tried using one of these to pry it out. That didn't work. I tried using this. That didn't work. I tried using, what is it called? A punch. To like try and do the same thing I was doing with this, but I feel like the punch would have been a little bit stronger, but that still didn't work. So I ended up having to jack up the other side, take the pressure off of that side, and literally while I was over there, the sway bar just dropped out. So if you're doing this, either have 2 jack stands or or have one side with the stand and one side with the jack. But yeah, now that I have that side in the air, I'll probably just do that side next. I was going to do the rear next, but doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm almost there. The next thing I need to do is get the clamps on that thing right there. And hopefully that's just the easy part. We'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and get the pry in the backside of the knuckle. Might as well. And then I will do the top hats as well once I get it compressed. So yeah, I'll get and the reason why I want to do that is because the the compressing tool is going to be it's going to be in the way. I already can tell it's going to be in the way. So I might as well just get that done. And we'll see if that works. We'll see if doing that first. And it's probably not a bad idea because then the strut is already trying to come out of all at the same time as I'm, doing the thing. So as I'm compressing the spring. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do next. Hopefully next time you see me, I will be putting in the coilover. Kind of excited. All right, what's up, guys? I'm still on the front side. This is 2 hours later. Every single job, you say, oh, it's gonna take me good 2.5 hours, tops, you'll be good. Hour goes by. I'm okay. Hour and a half goes by, like, ooh. But anyways, so I came prepared, but unprepared for what could have possibly happened. Let me explain. So the pry tool that I got from Amazon, both of them, where's the second one? Anyways, this looks like that. One was a little bit longer than the other, and one was thicker than the other. And I went to use the pry tool on the back of the knuckle. I'm gonna insert a photo of the back of the knuckle and you'll understand. And the black part, this little black part right there, started to spin inside of the socket. My luck, right? So I tried to use the other one. Other one did the same exact thing. I'm definitely returning it. Bad reviews on the way for this. This will not be linked in, well, I'll link it in the description, but like right above it, it will say do not buy, so you know exactly which one I'm talking about. So I ended up having to use my 2 pry bars that I only had with me. I have 4 altogether. The other 2 are a lot longer, and I was like, I don't think I'll need it. I got the pry tool and I got these 2. Should be fine, right? Well, little did I know, I forgot that this one pry bar is like, it's less than a foot. It's pretty thin. Then this one, which is about a foot long, is actually cracked in the middle. Right down the middle. Cracked right there. And so every time I use it, it basically tries to cut me. And I totally forgot that this one was like that. I've been meaning to buy another one, or at least go to Harbor Freight and see if they'll give me a replacement. Apparently they're really good at that. And so between those 2 pry bars and just brute force, I ended up getting the strut out, and I've already put in the coilover. This is what the ticking time bomb looks like. Oh, jeez. It is. There we go. That is what the ticking time bomb looks like. I'm gonna have to undo this. But the reason why it looks like that, there we go. The reason why it looks like that is because on the Volkswagen, the spring winds down, but it's covered up by the bottom hat on the strut. So you can't really squeeze the spring enough in order for it to successfully pull it out. So I had to do one side and then do the other side, and I just basically had to switch back and forth between each side of the each spring compressor. I had to switch between the 2 and finally got it out. I tried using the handle for my jack. Did not work. It was, like I said earlier, it is sketchy. It is sketchy as fuck. So yeah, that trick did not work, and I feel like if I had a 2x4, it might have worked, but it would still be really sketchy trying to do that. Trying to get between not having the knuckle spreader like just in there and not having a good enough way to compress the spring, very dangerous. see what happens. But geez, once I get everything together, I didn't even take measurements of how tall it was. If I remember, it was from the jacking points, it's around 4 or 5 inches off the ground with the stock. And I'll take measurements after. The guy that sold me this, he had it on his car for about a year, and he upgraded to, I think they're Bilsteins, Bilsteins. He just said the BCs were a little bit too rough. I already know this is going to be rough. It's going to be a rough ride, and I'm fine with it. But well, we'll see if I'm fine with it. See if I do this job again. But yeah, I'm putting together the original side, and we will get to the other side. Hopefully, because I've done this before, the other side, you know, I won't say it will be easy. It will be less difficult. I'm not trying to jinx myself. Hopefully it'll be less difficult. But I ended up having to use a couple more tools than originally. I will, at the end of this, I'll put them all together and tell you which one I used and how I used it and everything like that. I might do that on the other side, putting all the tools together, because I know exactly what I need now. I'll just point it out as I go. But yeah, it's insert SpongeBob clip here, like 5 hours later. I'm probably gonna get this done around 5 or 6 o'clock. So granted, I started this at 9 o'clock, and it is 12:55. Last time I looked at the time, it was 11. I honestly thought it was like 11:30 or something like that. Anyways, yeah, took a lot longer than I thought. If I was in a shop, I feel like I would have done this way faster, but that was a whole situation. When I was working at Volkswagen, I'm not doing that anymore. I ended up leaving. I will talk about that later in another video possibly. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get on the other side. Hopefully see you over there. Okay. What's going on? Got the front done, so that's good. The left side was a little bit more easy. It was a little easier. One of my pry bars broke, the one that pinches me anytime I use it. So I ended up using another tool. But let's get to all the tools that I used today. All right, so I used this chisel right here to pry open the knuckle, and I use this pry bar to pry open the knuckle. Tried using this to pry open the knuckle. The plastic fender guards. There's like 7 or 10 of them. Of course, this guy decides to start revving his fucking engine to do the plastic fenders. And then I use this. What was this? This is a T30 to hold down the sway bar bolt, because it spins sometimes. What else? I used an 18 for the sway bar bolt and nut to get that off, and just realized that you've been listening to me without the damn mic on. Hopefully you can hear me fine. But then to get the actual knuckle bolt, I used a 14 millimeter triple square. Looks like that. Got that from Napa. Then I used a Sharpie marker, like a paint marker, to mark the struts, just to make sure that I was like making headway. It kept like, the strut kept going back into the knuckle, so I made a line. Bolts, 18 for the sway bar, 19 is for the actual spring compressor. Then I have a 21. I forget what the 21 was used for. It wasn't for that. Once I remember what I used the 21 for, I'll probably put it on. Because I used the 19 for the knuckle bolt. Then I just have another 19. I forget what it was for, but I have an impact. I've been wearing gloves, but I'm sure my hands are black because I took them off a couple times. I have a ratcheting wrench from Milwaukee, pliers. And that's pretty much it. Granted, it is a lot of tools that I needed, but I at least got the front done. I'm gonna come back tomorrow and do the rear because I am tired. I drink a medium-sized cold brew and I'm still tired. So once I am all rested, I will make headway tomorrow on the rear. Besides, it'll be kind of interesting. It'd be kind of interesting to see what exactly the front feels like compared to the rear. Once again, it's not a difficult job. It's just if you don't have an extra set of hands, that's when it gets a little difficult. But you can definitely figure it out. I had a mallet. Yeah, I forgot the mallet. Yeah, the mallet came in handy. Like you're fighting friction and weight at the same time. So the mallet just really was the gentle push for everything, to push for the strut to come out. Once you get the strut out, the BC coilovers, they just slide right in. I use the jack to push up on the knuckle and the control arm just to have it, go upward instead of just keep hanging. I used a 13 for both the old and the new top hats to get those screwed down. That's pretty much it. I'll put the wheel on, see how I like it. Hopefully I do like it. I'm excited though. I'm excited to finally have at least the front done. And then tomorrow it should be a little bit drier and I might be able to go on some back roads with everything. And a couple weeks ago I did the brake fluid. I didn't record that because it was a lot of just me walking around. I'm gonna do that job again just to flush out the system. For some reason everyone says like, oh, you need 1 liter. No, you need 2 liters of brake fluid and I didn't spill any. on the ground. So yeah, you definitely need 2 liters. I ended up using Castrol CRF Racing brake fluid. They had the highest temperature for wet temperature, something like that. I believe it was in like the 500 or 600s. And it feels great. I honestly like that fluid. Everyone was telling me a couple of different ones, but Castrol definitely feels good under heavy braking. I feel it. I feel the pad getting and the rotor getting hot, but I don't feel the fluid itself. Like, it doesn't go down to the floor anymore. Before, it was always going down to the floor. Now, when it came out, the old stuff was black, so it had not been done. This car has 80,000 miles on it, and I don't think anyone did that. So glad I got that done. Between the brake fluid, the pads, the lighter wheels, and the coilovers, and the tune, of course. I think this is definitely going to be really good on the back roads, and once we go to autocrossing, we'll see to that. I don't know when I'm gonna go autocrossing. That's the thing. I gotta find a couple events that are in my area, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure if I will. I probably will. This will be the same video tomorrow, just so I don't have to split it up. But pretty much got the front done. But yeah. Everything came together all at the end for the front. I feel like the rear is going to be a little bit easier from just how it looks and how simple it is. The bolts that just come out, I really do think that those will definitely, that situation will be a lot easier. I don't even know how to get rid of these struts now I'm looking at it. Yeah, that's something for tomorrow to do. But hopefully this is a good setup. We'll see. I will see you tomorrow. Well rested. Probably will still need coffee. Early morning, definitely early morning. And we'll get this car knocked out. See you tomorrow.
Several days later.
Okay, what's going on? I messed up. Not a big deal, but a deal. I put on the sway bar links on the opposite side, and on the opposite side incorrectly. So make sure you at least glance over the instructions when you do this job, or just follow exactly what I did, and then 2 days later, after you hear a couple knocking sounds every time you turn, you're like, what the heck is that? Get back under the car and do exactly what I did. So each sway bar link is dedicated to one side. I will show you what it is supposed to look like. The bottom one is supposed to look like that, and then the top one is supposed to look like that, where the back side of the end link is supposed to be at the bottom, and the bolt is supposed to be exposed to the front. And this is the left side. It looks awkward. It looks like it's in a very awkward position, but apparently this is how it's supposed to be. And it's supposed to be the same way on the opposite side, on the right side. So says the instructions. It's supposed to be like that on the left side. It's supposed to be like that on the right side. So, in conclusion, don't read the directions. Just look over there. Have them handy. look them over right before you do the job, and then do the job. I've done suspension before. Like I've replaced stuff like this before on BMWs, on my Kia Sorento, on a Mustang. Like, yeah, I've done it on multiple cars, but every car is different. Every car is different, but so make sure you look at the directions or just follow what I just said. All right, go back to the video, the rest of the video. Okay, it's the next day. I'm gonna do the rear today, and hopefully we can get this done within. You know what? I'm not even gonna try and guess the time. Hopefully we can get it done quick. It was raining last night, so I was breaking traction like every 2 seconds. There's a lot more camber in the front now. I might keep it that way. I might add a little bit more. I'm not sure, but feels good. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get right into it. So I took the wheel off, jacked it up, and everything like that. There are a couple bolts that are holding the liner in. I'm gonna take care of those, and once I do that, I'm gonna look up at the strut. Most likely there's a box that's right here that I believe it's the ventilation for the gas tank, or it's like a, I forget what it's called. It's Jeez. It's like a charcoal canister that is something with emissions and ventilating the gas tank, whatever. This thing probably has to, it doesn't have to come out, but it just needs to be moved to the side. But yeah, I'm guessing that's what this big black thing is. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take care of these bolts around the liner, and we will see what we get. Okay, so looks like all you'll need is, all right, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 technical bolts that will take out the rear suspension. Okay, the first one that I got was the sway bar right back here. I took I believe it was a 16. I put it on the top part of the, where is it? There it is. I took off the top part because I'd rather fight the sway bar and align the link to the sway bar than to try and align the control arm to where the bolt needs to go. So I took that 16, I took a 16 wrench, and then I took a T30 Torx bit, and I took a really long extension like this. Don't know why it keeps locking. There we go. Really long extension. Put it on there, and I zipped it off using the actual Torx bit instead of the wrench. Maybe that's not the right way of doing it, but either way, that thing was gonna spin, so I used the easiest way possible. The next two are the 18 millimeters. I took off the strut first, then I took off the bolt that holds onto the knuckle. It looks like, oh no, that's fine. I was about to say that bearing needs to be, or that bushing needs to be replaced. You can see it in there, but it doesn't need it. Took off the 18. As you can see, the jack is under there. I used the jack I use the jack to align the bolt to pull it out. Otherwise, it was just going to be pressure on the bolt while I was taking it out. So I jack it up and then pull it out. So next part is slowly, like very, very slowly letting this down. And I'll show you how slow so that it does not come back at you. And if it does come back at me, take this as a learning lesson from me. So what I'm doing, I'm hiding kind of behind the rotor, because most likely, if anything, the spring will try and jump out that way. If it tries to jump out that way, there's a lot of stuff that's there that will slightly protect me. So, I mean, you could use the headliner to, not the headliner, the fender liner to kind of keep the spring away from you, but I'm not going to do all that. It's not much to do, but I'd rather just do it slowly and hope for the best. So I'm slowly letting it down, letting the pressure off of it. If I feel like it's going too fast, I come back with the pressure. And there. The spring is out successfully, slowly, somewhat safely. And now I just need to put everything in. Oh no, I gotta actually take out these bolts. You can see it. Those two. I already took out the bolt for right here, and it gives you enough space to. There's a little anchor that goes into the chassis that's plastic, so you just lift it up and just put it to the side, and that should be enough. If not, I can pull it out. But that is the ventilation, the charcoal ventilation tank for the gas tank. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, zip those two bolts out at the top. As you can see, actually, there is, there you go. There is paint, that alignment paint on these bolts, and I don't know if that is stock, because this car was rear-ended, and I could tell that a shop put this back together, because they use these bolts for the fender liner, and Volkswagen, they only use these. There's they don't use those other ones for the bolting down the fender liner. I'm not sure if that is stock, but I'm still gonna put just a little bit. I have the Sharpie paint with me, so might as well. Doesn't hurt anything. A couple of these bolts have thread locker on it. I might as well do that as well. Not all of them have it. I do not believe from the factory it comes like that. I really don't think so. But either way, it doesn't hurt. Like, it'll hurt the next person taking it out, maybe, but even then, it shouldn't hurt too much. Too bad to really do that. So I will go ahead, finish up taking the strut out, and slap the coilover in there. I'm excited. I'm excited. One thing that I have been doing before I get to do that, one thing that I have been doing is just taking a look around under the car while I'm here to see if I need to replace anything. So far, so good. I haven't seen anything that's like cracked, chipped, rusted out or anything like that. I'm not seeing that. So that's really good. I do need pads, rear pads, but I mean, if you're a Volkswagen guy, you already know. Like this, the rear in these GTIs are barely used, like barely. So this whole time I haven't even touched the rotor. I haven't even touched the pads. I haven't touched anything. The only thing I've touched is just the suspension and this gas ventilation system, and that's it. There's no, need to touch anything else. I've seen on other videos that they loosen up the control arm in the rear just to make it easier, but I as you can tell, I haven't needed to do that. It might help the whole putting in the coilover, or putting in the spring. But even then, the spring is way smaller than the stock spring, so I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, I'm going to get back to it, and I'll time lapse it. Might as well. I'll try and time lapse it, and get this coilover. All right. I am putting everything back together. Kind of got confused with all the bolts. But what I'm seeing is that the longer bolt is for the strut mount. So that's this one. I'll show you the other one, just so you have a frame of reference. It's like that. Couple mils longer. I'm going to try and get this thing aligned by using the perfect. Really just finding that perfect spot that the bolt wants to be in. What I've done in the past is taken a pin. There you go. A little bit more. Then the other side. Sometimes it just needs a little persuasion with the mallet, but you can damage the threads like that. It is a possibility of doing that. So you gotta be careful when you do decide to do that. Part of the reason why I'm having so much difficulty is because the jack isn't like perfectly level. It's not perfectly level on the center of don't always like to do it, but if it don't do it that way, just like a light punch, then something's wrong. Now I do have 2 of these, so I can take the risk, kind of. I can take a little risk with it. The reason why I have 2, there we go. It should go in that easy. It should not like be difficult to put this thing in. The reason why I have 2 bolts is because the guy that sold me these coilovers, he had the top hat and the bolts to the rear. So it's always nice to have extra hardware just in case you get into a little kerfuffle. Yes, I just used the word kerfuffle. I'm surprised too. So now I'm just getting a couple threads onto that bolt. I'm gonna lower it, see if. So this is the reason why that I did it that way. Did the sway bar that way. As you can see, the sway bar is right here, and the bolt is all the way up here. There is no possible way that I am going to be able to get that in until I take apart that other side. Yeah, there's just no way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jack up the other side. And the problem is I don't have the second jack stand. Why? Because I left it at my mom's place. I have my own place. There we go. That was me just jacking up the knuckle. Once again, it should just slide in. If it ain't sliding in, try to adjust how you're doing things. So I'm gonna release a little bit of the pressure. Go. It's okay if you hear that sound. If it's a little bit louder and deeper, I would back off. Because if it's making a different noise than that, that means the threads are getting messed up. You might not have an extra bolt. Just thread that on. Majority on there, and I'm gonna jump to the other side, and hopefully we'll see if this works. I did bring pride. We'll see. Okay, so the issue that I'm coming into right now is the sway bar link is not at the right height of the sway bar itself, and it's a stock sway bar, so it's not adjustable. So if you had 2 jack stands, I would just go on the other side, start the other side, leave everything loose on this right side, and then take off Like use the jack to take off the spring, take off the strut, take off everything except the sway bar. Leave that. Then once everything is off and the control arm is down and loose, then this side is going to be in the right position, because this needs to be, the sway bar needs to come up, and right now over there it's forcing the sway bar down, so this other side wants to come down as well. It is all the way down, and that side is already bottomed out. So I need to bring up the other side to be where this one is, and then this sway bar length, this side of the sway bar will match where we are right now with the link. You'll see everything, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put everything together. I'm going to put everything back together. I'm going to put the headliner in. I'm going to tighten down everything except the sway bar. I'm going to leave the sway bar link loose. I'm going to leave the sway bar link, everything out right now. I'm going to go to the other side, do everything except the sway bar, let it fall down as far as possible. Then once I am putting everything back together is when I'm going to come back over here, put the sway bar into this link, then do the other side, or vice versa, because then everything will be symmetrical. That's the main thing that it's wanting to be. The sway bar wants to be symmetrical, and right now one side is lower than the other, and one side has compression on the other. So as long as both sides are the same, I should be fine. I will most likely, when I'm putting everything back together, I will come over here and jack up this side. We'll see about that part. If my calculations are right, everything should be aligned. I think it'll be fine. We'll see. If anything, I'll just put everything back together, go get my jack, or get my jack stand, and do this all over again. But hopefully we don't have to do that. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten everything down. I haven't found any torque specs for all these bolts. I usually do it till a little bit past tight. Okay, so I didn't end up recording, and I gotta describe to you a little bit better what I did. So I ended up unbolting just the knuckle and the strut. And I pressed down on the control arm to put everything in, and then on the other side, once I had everything bolted together on this side loose, I jacked up the other side, and then I put the sway bar link into the hole with the sway bar. It was a little finicky, but I figured it out. I hate that I didn't record it. I know a lot of guys do that. Once again, apologies. But yeah, so to go over the tools that I used a 1/2-inch impact 3/8 wrench, then a 13 millimeter wrench, an 18 millimeter wrench, a 16 millimeter socket. This you will use for the top of the strut, the 2 bolts that are there. I used an 18 for all of the bolts between the lower strut part and the knuckle. 17, of course, for the lugs. I used a T30 to put into the sway bar links because they were spinning. At some point I'm going to have to replace them because I definitely see that one of the bushings is not bushing. One of the joints is leaking grease, so definitely got to get that done soon. But I used this one. It's a T25. That one is just for the inner liner of just to take those bolts out. If and once again, this car was worked on before because it was rear-ended, so I had to use an 8mm to take off a couple of the bolts for the inner liner as well, and I used a 13 for the sway bar link on the bottom part just to loosen it up, and so I could have a little bit more motion. You don't have to do it, but it just made things a little bit easier. But yeah, the rear was way more easy. Like I think this took me about an hour and a half to get done. I ended up using the sway bar, or not the sway bar, the pry bar to put pressure on the sway bar so I could, because I don't have the tool to keep the sway bar still. It takes a triple square. I don't know what size, but I know this T30, it worked, but it will strip. Like it will strip the inside of that sway bar link. So if it does strip, as long as you have that bolt through the sway bar, you can put the pry bar against the sway bar and then against the control arm and just put a little bit of pressure on it, on the bolt, so that you can tighten it down and or loosen it if necessary. But yeah, the sway bar links was the most difficult part of this whole job. So yeah, got the job done. It's definitely not as low as I thought it would be. It's definitely not as low as I thought it would be. But the front was 26 inches from the ground to the center of the fender, and the rear was at 26 and a little bit more. The front now is at 25 and a quarter, about 25 and a quarter. So it lowered it 3. I have them lower it a little bit more because I want, but right now it's got a lot of positive rate. Let me describe that real quick. So positive rake is when the car when the rear is higher in the rear than the front. So it's going to look like that. So there's more pressure on the front tires than on the rear. And negative rake is when the rear is lower and the front is higher. The main purpose of that is really just corner balancing and to help with braking, acceleration, and stuff like that. But I would go to a performance shop to get your car corner balanced, and then hopefully it will improve on your handling. It's not necessary on a daily. It is really not. Once again, this is going to be a daily autocross here and there type of thing where I'm doing probably 85-90% street and then around that 10-15% on the track. So I haven't touched the height, I haven't touched the stiffness at all on any part of this. Maybe I should have done that, maybe what I'm doing is fine, but all I really did was tighten down the strut because one of them were loose when I was putting it in, so I tightened that down, and I went around and tightened down everything else. But yeah, it worked out perfectly. We'll see how I like it, because the front was really stiff, like really stiff. I'm sure it could be stiffer. The guy said that he had it on, like, had it half and half, like right in the middle of how stiff it could be. But we'll see. Most likely what I'll do is I'll make the front softer than the rear, just so I can keep that oversteer aspect of this car. this chassis is like really stiff. I forgot to mention that. When I was lifting the rear end of the car, the front would lift it with it and vice versa. So it's a very stiff chassis, very small wheelbase. So I'm thinking about doing strut tower bars, but I'm not seeing anything on the forums where it's necessary. I'm definitely going to do a sway bar in the rear at some point, and then once I do that in the rear, then I'm going to also do the links. That wasn't in the plan to do that, but now that I see the links that are the knuckle is kind of wearing out, might as well just get that done. And yeah, next thing on the list is probably that. I'm still trying to not put too much into this car. I've already put a lot into it just in the first couple months of owning it, so we'll see how I like it with the new coilovers. Thanks so much for watching, and do all the things below if you want to. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'll try and answer them as much as possible. The next video that you'll probably see is me on the back roads testing this thing out. Can't wait. So now that it's dry outside, I'll probably do it today. All right, see ya.